In a world where the game Shenkai made fantasy real, a hero stood just half a step from the peak, only to be betrayed by the one person he trusted, his adopted sister, Kinzaioyu. In his final moments, stabbed in the back and drained of life, he watched her and her lover, Song Fei, steal the divine artifact he had won. But fate, or perhaps the artifact itself, gave him a second chance, reincarnating him back to 2025, the very day the game descended upon the world. This time there would be no sentiment, no protecting a viper. There would only be revenge and the lonely path to power. After a bitter confrontation, he cut ties with his manipulative sister, handing over their parents' inheritance and declaring her a stranger to him. He then entered the game that had once been his glory and his downfall, choosing a different path as an assassin. As he made his choice, the divine artifact from his past life, the Eye of Judgment, activated, rewriting his destiny and granting him the ultimate hidden profession, Shadow. He was reborn not just in time, but in power, holding a primal authority that transcended the game's very rules, ready to dominate the world that had taken everything from him. He stepped into the chaotic beginner town, a grim veteran among clueless newbies, his hunt for vengeance just beginning. Other new players reeled from their first taste of combat, complaining about the tough monsters and the brutal penalty of losing half their lifespan upon death. A blonde archer named Lizzie, leader of a recently wiped party, saw the MC's unique gear and invited him to join them, foolishly boasting of their experience from getting killed. The MC simply walked past, coldly stating, "No need," leaving them stunned by his arrogance. Annoyed, they decided to follow him, hoping to watch the overconfident player get his comeuppance. Lizzie, however, sensed something different about him, noting his superior equipment and speed, and felt that shadowing this mysterious player might reveal crucial information about the deadly new world. Her instincts were sharp. The MC stopped, having already detected her, and then activated Shadow Sneak, vanishing into thin air before her very eyes. Shocked by a starting skill that granted invisibility, Lizzie's group gave up and retreated to town. Alone again, the MC marveled at his new class's power, a stealth so perfect that no early-game player or monster could detect him. He checked his stats, seeing the massive bonuses his Shadow class provided, and dumped all 5 of his starting attribute points into agility, knowing it was the true key to survival and damage in the early stages. He quickly found a level 1 crawler, the same monster that had decimated Lizzie's party, and prepared to demonstrate the difference between a rookie and a reincarnated master. With perfect timing, he executed a stealth break strike from behind, hitting the monster's weak point and instantly killing it with a single devastating blow. He was momentarily surprised by the insane damage, realizing it was a perfect synergy of his class passives and skills stacking together, a feat that would have been impossible for his warrior class in his previous life. As he collected the spoils, a notification appeared. The Eye of Judgment had activated, granting him a unique primal talent called Infinite Evolution. This unheard-of ability allowed him to spend evolution points, earned from killing monsters, to upgrade his skills beyond their normal limits, a power that literally broke the rules of the game. Without hesitation, the MC poured his points into upgrading Shadow Sneak and Backstab, dramatically increasing their effectiveness and extending his stealth duration to the point where he could remain permanently invisible. As he familiarized himself with his newfound power, a couple of clueless jocks stumbled upon him, mocking his slender build and offering to carry him through the game. The MC simply ignored them and vanished, leaving them bewildered just as a monstrous level 1 bronze boss, the Nurturer, burst from the ground. He identified the boss and its minions, deciding it was the perfect test for his upgraded abilities. He launched a stealth attack, dealing a massive 338 damage but taking a small hit in return, a reminder that even he wasn't invincible. The enraged boss began thrashing wildly, making a direct approach too risky. The MC adapted instantly, devising a brilliant, if cheesy, strategy. He'd wait for his stealth cooldown, then simply throw a rock. The thrown stone, benefiting from all his stealth and backstab bonuses, struck the beast for nearly 300 damage. While he whittled down the boss, a server-wide announcement shocked every player in Shell Town. Player Shadow had slain the Nurturer and was the first to reach level 2. Back in the real world, Kinzaioyu was complaining to her friends about her controlling brother, lying about the slap mark on her face, and callously wishing he would drop dead, just as the worldwide phenomenon of players turning semi-transparent began. Back in the game, the MC received his rewards for the boss kill, including a bronze skill book for Greedy Hand. He recognized it as a god-tier skill for farming, as it gave a 20% chance to get an extra loot drop. He immediately understood its potential when combined with his infinite evolution talent. He could make that 20% into 100%. He used his new evolution points to upgrade Greedy Hand from bronze to gold, raising its success chance to 70%, and immediately getting an extra 2 evolution points and 46 days of lifespan from the boss corpse. Now equipped with a new dagger and a plan, he headed out to hunt stronger monsters, encountering a party of 6 led by Wang Meng desperately fighting a bronze boss, the Sprint Predator. The MC recognized them from his past life as a full team of hidden class users, but even their combined power wasn't enough. As the fight dragged on, it attracted more monsters, and the party was quickly overwhelmed when a corruptor appeared and debuffed them. From the shadows, the MC one-shotted the corruptor, stunning Wang Meng's team who had no idea who their mysterious benefactor was. He then killed a second corruptor, obtaining the Venom Dart skill book, which he instantly upgraded to silver rarity. Just as Wang Meng was about to be killed by the boss, a volley of poison darts slammed into the creature from an unseen assailant, melting its health bar. The damage over time effect combined with the MC's passives was enough to finish it off, granting him all the kill credit and loot. Wang Meng, awestruck, tried to thank his savior, but the MC simply warned him not to trust others so easily before vanishing again. The MC looted the corpse with his powered-up Greedy Hand, filling his inventory with valuable gear. With his bags full, he headed back to town, his mind set on his ultimate goal, revenge on Song Fei. Meanwhile, in town, players were in despair, unable to reach level 3 to log out. Jiang Lai, a rich and arrogant girl, began spreading a rumor. She would pay 10 million real-world cash to whoever could power level her. The MC returned to the location of the damned, a boss he'd spotted earlier, and used the evolution points he'd farmed to upgrade Greedy Hand again, this time to Jade Rarity, which gave it a 160% chance for extra loot and a 20% chance to increase the loot's rarity. He then returned to town and set up a stall, causing a massive commotion as players recognized the server's #1 player, Shadow. A player named Grey Rose and her team pooled their resources to buy a skill book from him for 100 days of tradable life. Immediately after, Jiang Lai swaggered up and made her 10 million cash offer. The MC, recognizing her from his past life as a vicious criminal, flatly refused, telling her cash was worthless and only tradable life mattered. When she threatened him, he coldly promised to kill her in-game until her lifespan reached 0, causing her to flee in terror. After selling all his items and amassing a fortune in tradable life, the MC prepared to leave town once more to hunt the damned, vanishing before the awestruck crowd as he reflected that in this new world, only one's own strength was the basis for everything. Panting, Jiang Lai vowed revenge on the MC, only to be approached by a player named Old Mao who offered to power level her for the 10 million reward. He shared a basic tip, putting all starting points into agility to outrun early monsters, which impressed her enough to hire him for half the price, sneering at the MC for turning down such easy money. Meanwhile, the MC found the damned, now evolved into a silver-tier boss called the Curse Master, and decided not to wait for its next evolution. He launched a barrage of venom darts and stealth break strikes, skillfully kiting the powerful mage-type boss. Knowing its high-damage area attacks could one-shot him, he patiently waited for an opening, struck, and immediately vanished again, whittling down its massive health bar with precision and caution. With its health nearly depleted, the boss attempted to flee, but the MC easily finished it off, rocketing from level 3 to 5 in a single kill. Using his emerald-tier Greedy Hand, he looted the corpse twice, triggering its rare upgrade effect and receiving a gold-tier item from the silver boss, along with a massive haul of evolution points and lifespan. As the MC managed his overflowing inventory, players back in town were stunned by the leaderboard update showing him at level 5, just minutes after they saw him at level 3. Wang Meng and his team decided to log off and warn their families about the game's true nature. Awaking in the real world, Wang Meng was immediately debriefed by his police superiors, sharing everything he knew about the game and the mysterious player, Shadow. The authorities, piecing together information, realized the gravity of the situation. The game was a real threat, and falling behind could have global consequences, prompting them to form vanguard teams to explore this new reality. Meanwhile, Qin Zioyu fumed over the MC's lack of apology, reminiscing about her crush, Song Fei, and realizing she could find him in the game. She sought advice from another player, Zhang Wei, who, smitten with her, gave her the same basic agility tip, promising to carry her in the game. Cocky and armed with a little knowledge, she logged in, determined to surpass the MC. The MC, back in the game, examined his loot, including a powerful gold-tier curse ring and a silver-tier AoE skill, Instant Shadow Slash. He immediately learned the skill and used his mountain of evolution points to upgrade both it and Greedy Hand, raising the latter to Diamond tier, which now gave him a guaranteed 2 extra loot drops per kill. He tested his new AoE skill on a pack of limb crawlers, wiping them out instantly and marveling at his increased farming efficiency. With his bags full again and his tradable lifespan nearing the amount needed to extract his powers, he set his sights on level 10. Back in town, Jiang Lai and her new guide, Old Mao, celebrated reaching level 3 and logging out, activating the town's teleportation formation in the process. The MC noted this, setting an alert for when another town's portal activated, as his true goal lay beyond the beginner areas in the god's abandoned realm. He held another flash sale, instantly selling out and earning a massive 650 days of lifespan. Just as he was leaving, Grey Rose, the prophet from before, offered him a rare space ring in exchange for his help killing a gold-tier boss she had discovered. The MC instantly recognized the boss she described as the Golden Ghost Ship, a rare and valuable world boss, and realizing her incredible luck, surmised she must be the legendary koi fish player from his past life. He agreed to her terms, and they set off, only to be tailed by a group of P-Curs who had been eyeing Grey Rose. The MC led her away, then vanished and silently dispatched the 5 foolish players in a blur of motion, looting their meager lifespans before rejoining the bewildered prophet. After a brief and bizarre conversation about the logistics of peeing while invisible, they reached the boss's location. Meanwhile, Kinzayoyu entered the game for the first time, discovering she had a hidden class and immediately spotting Shadow at the top of the leaderboard, deciding he was a much better target to latch onto than Zhang Wei. She quickly found Wang Meng's party, who were looking for a healer, and joined them. At the cliffside, the MC warned his new companion, whom he now playfully called Little Black, to stay hidden while he soloed the boss. He initiated the fight, knowing all the Golden Ghost Ship's tricks from his past life, effortlessly dodging its powerful attacks and targeting its hidden weak point, the ghost fire bell on its mast. The ship summoned 12 powerful water ghosts, but the MC, remaining invisible, simply grouped them up and annihilated them with a single instant shadow slash. He then calmly told Little Black that he was about to die. Confused, she watched as the boss unleashed its ultimate attack, a massive soul surge that immobilized and killed the MC in one hit. A gang of P-Curs who had been waiting for this moment swarmed the area to steal the dropped lifespan orb and finish the boss. However, they were instantly wiped out by the ship's powerful AoE attacks. The MC promptly respawned, explaining to Little Black that he had intentionally died to trigger the boss's ultimate attack, as it could only be used once. He then effortlessly finished off the weakened boss, dodging its teleportation gimmick with his superior knowledge of its patterns. As he was about to land the final blow, Little Black heroically intercepted the P-Curs who had returned for another attempt, buying him the time he needed. The MC killed the boss, triggering a server-wide announcement of the first gold-tier boss kill and leveling up to 8. Using his invisibility, he watched as another group of players, led by a hunter with an anti-stealth skill, approached the loot pile, confident they could find him. However, his Shadow class's superior stealth level rendered their skill useless, and they gave up, deciding to wait out the 5-minute loot ownership timer. The MC used the opportunity to upgrade Greedy Hand to Epic Tier, giving him a 300% chance for extra loot with a 100% chance to upgrade its rarity. He then collected his spoils, receiving an insane triple reward from his skill, including 2 Ghost Fire Bells, special items that prevent lifespan loss on death. Just as he was examining his god-tier loot, he heard Little Black scream for help. Little Black, cornered by a group of P-Curs, chose to leap off a cliff rather than be captured, respawning safely back in town. The MC, after confirming she was okay, turned his attention to his massive rewards. He attempted to evolve Greedy Hand further but found the cost had skyrocketed, so he instead poured his evolution points into his offensive skills, dramatically increasing the power of instant shadow slash and backstab. He then equipped his new platinum dual blades and gold leather armor, his stats soaring to new heights. Lastly, he learned Ghost Shadow Blur, a dodge-based survival skill recognizing its insane potential once evolved. On his way back to town, he ran into the P-Curs who had accosted Little Black, who pathetically begged for their lives. The MC showed no mercy, executing them all and earning a killer debuff which he shrugged off thanks to his ghost fire bell. Back in town, another group of P-Curs, humbled by his power, offered him a skill book as a pathetic apology, which he accepted before vanishing. The humiliated players plotted to find the MC in the real world and enslave him. Meanwhile, the MC met up with Little Black and gave her 2 pieces of gold equipment as per their deal, making her ecstatic. She then told him about a ruin entrance she'd found, and he accepted her space ring as payment, his inventory expanding to 27 slots. The MC set off for the ruins, understanding they were a treasure trove of lifespan and evolution points for him. He arrived at what he recognized as a temple of faith, specifically one belonging to the ancient god of judgment, the same entity tied to his Eye of Judgment artifact. Inside, he was met not with hostility, but with 2 kneeling silver-tier monsters, devout followers who seemed to recognize his authority. He easily dispatched them, and was about to explore further when Grey Rose's team stumbled into the ruins, only to be promptly wiped out by the same monsters. The MC collected the lifespan they dropped and used his epic greedy hand on the monster corpses, receiving an insane haul that included 32 evolution points, over 1,500 days of lifespan, and a gold-tier assassin accessory with a summon ability. He equipped the new pendant, admiring the significant cooldown reduction it provided, then discovered a hidden lift that took him deep underground into a treacherous maze. To safely navigate the traps, he summoned his new devout follower to act as a scout, and for extra insurance, evolved his Ghost Shadow Blur passive to Epic tier, granting him a staggering 75% dodge rate. He then systematically explored the maze for 3 hours, using his summon as cannon fodder to clear the path. At the end, he found a treasure chest guarded by a mysterious, ghostly woman who vanished as he approached, leaving the now unlocked chest behind. Inside, he found an Epic tier skill book, Bestowal of Mercy, a godly assassin skill that doubled weak point damage and applied a powerful bleed effect. Thrilled with his haul, he returned to town just as the teleportation gates from other starter towns began to open, flooding the area with players from across the region. He was immediately swarmed by an adoring crowd, but he ignored them and teleported away to Firefly Town, Song Fei's home base. There he met up with Wang Meng's party to sell them the gear he'd acquired, and was shocked to see his treacherous sister, Qin Zioyu, had somehow joined their team. Wary of exposing his identity, he conducted the trade, generously offering the gear on credit, further earning Wang Meng's loyalty. Qin Zioyu, now calling herself Little Graceful, brazenly asked for priest equipment, but the MC simply ignored her friend's request and vanished. Though he had priest gear, he'd never give it to her. He resolved to find a worthy priest to replace her in Wang Meng's party, recalling a powerful player from his past life, Gu Yixu, who was also from Firefly Town. Arriving at the Wailing Valley, he found the area in chaos with multiple parties fighting over a silver-tier boss, the twin-headed Emberfiend. He spotted his target, Song Fei, surrounded by his army of brainwashed fangirl mages who were employing bizarre and inefficient strategies to fight. As Song Fei and his adoring fans were about to land the killing blow on the boss, dreaming of overtaking Shadow on the leaderboards, the MC intervened. With a single, devastating instant Shadow slash, he wiped out not only the boss, but Song Fei and his entire entourage in one fell swoop. The surrounding players were stunned into silence, then erupted in cheers for the legendary Shadow who had rid them of the tyrannical Song Fei. After respawning, Song Fei was humiliated but quickly rallied a new army of followers, vowing revenge on the mysterious assassin who had embarrassed him. The MC, meanwhile, used Greedy Hand on the pile of corpses, then evolved Bestowal of Mercy to legendary tier, massively boosting its power. With his business concluded, he prepared to head back to his own town, only to be ambushed by Song Fei's newly formed revenge squad. The hunt for celebrity player Song Fei was on, and his adoring fans, the Fei fans, were determined to protect their idol at all costs, vowing to avenge any slight against him. One fan used a detection skill, spotting a stealthed figure and calling for an all-out attack with their strongest skills, only to discover they had just obliterated one of their own who was also trying to be sneaky. The true hunter, the player known as Shadow, remained unseen, his stealth level far surpassing their crude detection abilities. Capitalizing on their confusion, the MC used a special item, the Ghost Fire Bell, to unleash a soul shock that froze every enemy within 100 meters. With his targets helpless, he executed an instant Shadow slash, a whirlwind of blue energy and steel that wiped out the entire group in a single, fluid motion, leaving the survivors to wonder how they all died so suddenly. The MC found himself unimpressed by their fanaticism, noting that these players had foolishly given all their tradable lifespan to Song Fei, making their deaths ultimately pointless for anyone but the monsters that would feed on their non-tradable life force. Realizing he needed a more reliable way to track his prey, the MC sought out a player named Gu Yixu, a woman with a wide-area search ability, and made her an offer she couldn't refuse, a coveted gold-tier staff for a fraction of its price. While she located Song Fei's new hiding spot, the MC discovered an ancient god's blessing, a hidden puzzle that yielded a jade-tier treasure chest. Inside was a game-changing skill called Blossoming Curse, an ability that could drain the tradable lifespan from a player's fresh corpse. Now armed with the perfect tool to bankrupt his target, the MC closed in, arriving just as Song Fei's followers engaged in a massive brawl with the fans of a rival idol, New Jayaki, their battle cries echoing across the barren landscape. As the fan war raged, Song Fei's followers chanted poetic slogans of their undying loyalty, their voices a bizarre chorus amidst the chaos of battle. A visibly moved Song Fei turned to his supporters, his voice thick with emotion as he thanked his dear family for their sacrifice and dedication. One of his fans tearfully recounted how they were nearly ambushed by New Jayaki's ruthless followers, but others quickly offered comfort, their loyalty unwavering. In that moment of manufactured sentimentality, a flicker of blue energy coalesced in the air directly behind the idol. The MC Shadow had arrived, his voice a cold whisper that cut through the noise. "Song Fei, you are already dead." A nearby fan could only scream, "Brother," as the MC's blade sliced cleanly through Song Fei, ending his life in an instant. As the idol's body crumpled to the ground, the MC invoked his new power, Blossoming Curse. A massive, ethereal flower of pure crimson energy erupted violently from the corpse, a horrifying spectacle that caused the newly respawned Song Fei to gasp in shock, wondering what this horrifying thing was. Back in the sterile blue light of the revival point, Song Fei was consumed by rage, unable to comprehend why this shadow player was so relentlessly hunting him, pathetically concluding it must be jealousy over his massive female fanbase. His fury turned to sheer terror as a system notification appeared, informing him that his tradable lifespan was rapidly and continuously decreasing, the numbers ticking down from 400 with alarming speed. He furiously ranted that it wasn't his problem if some girl the MC was simping for happened to be one of his fans. A respawned follower rushed over, frantically explaining that Shadow had used a skill to grow a blood-red flower on his corpse which was actively absorbing something from him. The horrifying realization dawned on Song Fei. The MC wasn't just killing him, he was trying to drain his very life force to zero. In a blind panic, he screamed for his entire entourage to log off immediately before he lost everything he had accumulated. He swore vengeance, boasting about his 2.5 years of hard training and his intention to crush Shadow with the sheer power of his real-world wealth. On the now quiet battlefield, the MC watched the crimson flower wither away, having successfully siphoned another 1,000 days of lifespan. A system message popped up, branding him a Slayer Tier 4 and warning him that his next death would cost him a staggering 875% of his own lifespan. Gu Yixu, who had witnessed the entire event, was left trembling, utterly terrified by the raw power of the game's #1 ranked player. She confirmed to the MC that Song Fei and his entire fan club had logged off. The MC calmly instructed her to keep watch and alert him the second they reappeared. As a reward and a new directive, the MC offered Gu Yixu a gold-tier priest skill book, Holy Judgment Sword, for half price, with the sole condition that she join a particular team as their dedicated healer. She nervously accepted, making sure there were no other strings attached. He assured her the team was decent and that he would arrange the introduction. The scene shifted to a dark, rainy forest where another team was in dire straits. Their captain was poisoned, and their healer, a young woman named Xiaoyu, completely bungled her cleanse spell, leading to the captain's swift death. The remaining members grimly agreed that she had to be replaced. Meanwhile, the oblivious Xiaoyu, now solo, was celebrating her own progress to level 4, dreaming of the day she could meet her idol, Song Fei. The team leader, Wang Meng, received a timely message from his big bro, the MC, recommending a powerful, hidden-class priestess. Wang Meng, trusting the recommendation implicitly, eagerly accepted the offer. Soon after, Wang Meng and his teammates coldly ditched Xiaoyu, feeding her a flimsy excuse that their new leveling area was too dangerous for her. Seeing right through the lie, she stormed off in a huff, declaring she would find the famous expert Shadow to carry her instead. The MC met with Wang Meng in town, who handed over 800 days of lifespan as a down payment for gear. At that moment, a formidable woman in shining armor named Enro arrived. The MC immediately recognized her player ID. Justice Execution. Enro was a dragon knight, the owner of a unique hidden class, and in the MC's past life, one of the top 20 players in the world. She greeted the MC with genuine excitement, expressing her admiration for the player who had outranked her. After transferring the final 500 days of lifespan owed, she began subtly probing him, asking about his leveling secrets and half joking that he might be a reincarnator. She then revealed that she held all the official lifespan for Jianghai City and coyly asked if he had any plans to kill her for it. The MC saw through her naive act, recognizing the sharp, ruthless mind beneath. He played along, assuring her that a continued partnership would be far more profitable for them both. Back in the real world, chaos was brewing. An official announcement confirmed that lifespan in the game was tied to real life, and a zero balance meant actual death. This news sent waves of panic through Song Fei's fanbase. One fan, who played a tank mage and had died frequently, checked her status in horror, realizing she had only 1 day of life left. Spotting a notification that Song Fei was buying lifespan at a public plaza, she saw a glimmer of hope. She frantically dressed herself in Song Fei fan merchandise from head to toe, including a branded ultra-thin anti-leak product, and rushed out the door to meet her savior. Another fan, a woman with long dark hair, logged out to find herself a millionaire, thanks to the 200 days of life she had accumulated. Her joy was short-lived as she saw the online chatter about Shadow repeatedly killing Song Fei. The grim reality of the official announcement crashed down on her, and realizing her idol was in mortal danger, she resolved to go to the plaza and help him in person. In the game, the MC finally reached level 10, an achievement that triggered a global server announcement declaring him the first to do so. He spent his points upgrading his backstab skill and reviewed his character sheet, his tradable lifespan now exceeding a comfortable 400 days. A new quest appeared. 7 players needed to reach level 10 to unlock the teleportation portal to the next continent. Knowing he had a long wait ahead, the MC decided it was the perfect time to log out and settle some business in the real world. Materializing in his apartment, the MC began the process of extracting his in-game power into reality, a process that cost a significant amount of his tradable lifespan. He extracted his class and levels, instantly becoming level 3 in the real world, his physical attributes skyrocketing far beyond normal human limits. He was delighted to find a loophole. The cost to extract his powerful, evolved skills was based on their original, low-grade versions, making the transaction an incredible bargain. He pulled his platinum-grade Shadow stealth skill and his silver-grade Venomous Dart into his physical body, feeling the surge of supernatural power. Now equipped with perfect invisibility and ranged poison attacks, he was more than ready to deliver a permanent end to Song Fei. He checked his phone and saw that Song Fei was still hosting his lifespan buying event at Dajiang Plaza, only a few kilometers away. An incoming call from his insufferable workplace supervisor, who interrupted his thoughts. The supervisor demanded he appease some young lady who had taken an interest in him. The MC simply scoffed, called him an idiot, and blacklisted the number without a second thought. A smirk crossed his face as he prepared to leave. These people, he thought, were about to get a harsh lesson on what the god-forsaken game truly was. Dajiang Plaza was a sea of screaming fans, all chanting Song Fei's name. On stage, the celebrity was conferring with his manager, who reported that they were investigating Shadow's real identity. Their plan was to make a public offer of money to lure him out, then have him captured. Song Fei privately sneered at his fans, thinking of them as useful idiots, but their adoration was a balm to his ego. The event was suddenly interrupted by a protester who yelled at the crowd, warning them not to sell their lives away and accusing Song Fei of brainwashing them into committing suicide. Seizing the opportunity, Song Fei took the microphone and delivered an Oscar-worthy performance. He tearfully apologized for causing any public disruption, praised his fans for their love, and preached a message of rational idol worship. He masterfully spun his lifespan acquisition as a noble quest to become a quality idol who was cooperating with the authorities for the good of society. The crowd was completely won over. A particularly large female fan, overcome with emotion, stormed the stage and proclaimed that anyone unwilling to sacrifice everything for their brother didn't deserve to call themselves a fan. Her passionate speech ignited a frenzy, and people began shouting out how many days of life they would give him. Song Fei turned to the large fan, his voice dripping with faux sincerity, and told her how incredibly grateful he was to be loved by someone as devoted as her. She swooned, declaring she would willingly die for him on the spot. But as he continued to speak, her eyes suddenly rolled back into her head and she collapsed to the floor lifeless. A wave of confusion and horror swept through the plaza. Before anyone could process what had happened, Song Fei himself gasped, clutched his chest, and fell to the stage, also dead. His bodyguards rushed to his side in a panic, yelling that he was gone and that his ball of life light had vanished, stolen by an unseen assailant. The manager's face went pale with a terrifying realization. Game skills could be used in reality, and there was only one person capable of such a feat. As the thought crossed his mind, a spectral blue blade materialized from thin air, impaling him and the bodyguards around him in a single, silent strike. The young lady they were protecting stared in abject horror as the attacker's form flickered into view for a brief moment, revealing the cold, glowing eyes of the MC. The name echoed in her mind, Shadow, as Song Fei's fan army, now including an archer with a stealth detection skill, closed in. The MC simply went into stealth, drawing them out. One of the archers triumphantly shouted that she'd spotted him, and the entire mob unleashed their strongest skills on her position, instantly obliterating her in a massive explosion of friendly fire. While the others reeled in confusion, the MC, who had never been there in the first place, used his Ghost Fire Bell's soul shock ability, freezing the entire mob in place for 3 seconds. He then unleashed a single instant shadow slash, wiping them all out in a devastating display of power. As Song Fei respawned, furious and confused, the MC calmly calculated the massive amount of lifespan he had just plundered, noting how the foolish fans had given all their tradable life to their idol. Song Fei, now terrified of the MC's power, decided to flee and grind elsewhere. The MC, however, had no intention of letting him go and sought out Gu Yixu, the powerful hidden class priest from his past life. He found her and offered a gold-tier staff at a steep discount in exchange for tracking Song Fei's location. She agreed, and after a brief, awkward exchange where the MC revealed he knew she hated Song Fei, she located him. On the way, the MC stumbled upon an ancient god's blessing, a rare world event that spawned a jade-tier treasure chest. Inside, he found Blossoming Curse, a sinister skill that could drain a dead player's entire tradable lifespan. Now armed with the ultimate tool for revenge, he learned the skill and hunted down his prey. He found Song Fei's group fighting another party of fans and watched as they turned on each other in a bizarre display of idol worship. Just as Song Fei's side was victorious, the MC appeared and declared, "You are already dead," before once again slaughtering Song Fei and his entire entourage. This time, as Song Fei's body hit the respawn point, a cursed red flower bloomed from it, rapidly draining his lifespan. Panicked, Song Fei and his followers logged off, hoping to escape the effect. The MC confirmed with Gu Yixu that they were gone, then struck a deal with her, a powerful gold-tier skill book in exchange for her joining Wang Meng's team as their permanent healer. Meanwhile, Qin Zioyu was proving to be a completely useless priest, failing to heal her teammates and getting them killed. Wang Meng's party, frustrated, was about to kick her out when the MC messaged them, recommending a new, powerful hidden-class healer. They immediately abandoned Qin Zioyu and rushed to meet their new recruit, leaving her fuming and vowing to get carried by Shadow instead. The MC met with Wang Meng and Gu Yixu and was surprised to see Yu, another top-ranked player from his past life, accompanying them. Yu, representing the government, probed the MC with questions while completing the payment for the gear he had sold them, establishing a formal, if tense, business relationship. Back in the real world, chaos erupted as the government officially announced the truth about the game. Death in the game meant death in reality. Song Fei's fans panicked, realizing they had given away their very lives, while Qin Zioyu, now aware of the danger, watched a news report showing Shadow repeatedly killing her precious idol. Horrified, she realized Song Fei was in mortal danger and rushed to a public event where he was buying lifespan to help him. At the event, a protester denounced Song Fei for manipulating his fans, but he twisted the situation with a tearful, manipulative speech, turning the crowd back to his side and inspiring them to sell him even more of their lifespan. One fan, in a fit of devotion, declared she would die for him and promptly did, her body going limp as her in-game lifespan hit 0. As panic ensued, Song Fei was suddenly assassinated, a venomous dart appearing in his chest as his lifelike orb was instantly snatched away by an invisible force. His bodyguards could only watch in horror as their young lady was also killed, the name of the killer echoing in their minds, Shadow. In the aftermath, the news of the celebrity's Yufei's death at Dajiang Square sent shockwaves through the public. with police confirming the cause was supernatural. Qin Zioyu's friends discussed the incident, theorizing that the mysterious player Shadow must have been the one to assassinate him, having already killed him multiple times in-game, and wondered how game abilities could manifest in reality. Qin Zioyu, however, was consumed by grief and rage, her world shattered by the loss of her idol. A dark resolve settled over her as she vowed that her sole objective from now on would be killing Shadow to avenge Song Fei. Meanwhile, the MC, back in his civilian identity as Qin Feng, was having a meal when he received a call from his former colleague, Yang Zioya. She relayed a message from their obnoxious boss, Fatty who was furious that Qin Feng had blocked his number and was threatening to fire him and withhold his salary. The MC, unconcerned with such trivial matters, was more interested in Cayenne Shishi, the spoiled daughter of the Cayenne Group's CEO and the true power behind the company. He recalled from his past life how she despised her own country and eventually joined an anti-Daxia association in North America, causing immense trouble for him and his guild. He resolved to eliminate her before she could become a threat in this new timeline, cutting off the association's formation at the root. He then received a call from Qin Zioyu, who coldly informed him that she had bought a house and wanted to sever all ties with him permanently. The MC simply agreed, ending the call and leaving her stunned by his indifference. Unseen, Qin Zioyu fumed, telling her friend she would soon befriend Shadow and wouldn't need a loser like Qin Feng anyway, before contacting her new lackey, Zhang Wei, to get a control-type skill book to offer to the top player. Her plan was devious. She would get close to Shadow, earn his trust, and then, when he was most vulnerable, kill him personally to avenge her beloved Song Fei. The plan was immediately thwarted when Zhang Wei reported back that Shadow had rejected the shit ability, leaving her plan in shambles. Meanwhile, in-game, Zhang Wei's team was wiped out by a powerful boss, the Golden Arthropod, a creature he recognized was too strong for them. The MC, however, had also been tracking this very boss. He knew from his past life that this particular boss had a level 2 anti-stealth ability, rendering his usual tactics useless. Undeterred, he engaged the beast, relying on his legendary skill, Bestowal of Mercy, which expanded the boss's weak points by 200%. This allowed his multi-hit instant Shadow Slash to land critical hits despite his lack of stealth, dealing massive damage and making up for the lost backstab bonus. Spectators who had been wiped by the boss watched in awe, unable to comprehend the MC's speed, reaction time, and intimate knowledge of the monster's attack patterns. He explained to himself that he had fought this boss countless times in his past life, learning its every move, making it far easier to handle than unpredictable special bosses. As the boss tried to flee, he easily finished it off, reaping a massive reward of EXP, evolution points, and lifespan. The loot was even more impressive, including a platinum-tier skill book, Blacklight Shield, which converted dodge chance into damage-immune shields. Recognizing its immense value, he immediately evolved it to Epic Tier, granting him a staggering 7 layers of damage immunity. He then upgraded his Poison Dart skill and equipped 2 new pieces of Gold Tier gear, dramatically boosting his stats and survivability. He sold a gold skill book to a grateful mage player for 800 days of life, then was approached by Zhang Wei's team, who had witnessed his feat. Qin Zioyu's new lackey begged him for help, but the MC ignored him. He was then contacted by Wang Meng, who directly asked if he was the one who killed Song Fei in the real world. The MC, knowing the authorities had likely figured it out, coolly admitted to the killing, probing their reaction and confirming that his rebirth was already altering the timeline of the god's Forsaken Game era. He met with Wang Meng and An Yu in town, where they confirmed their investigation pointed to him. An Yu, speaking for the authorities, acknowledged that Song Fei and Jiang Lai were criminals who had plotted against him, framing the killings as self-defense, effectively giving the MC a pass and maintaining their cooperative relationship. The MC then sold them a massive cache of platinum and gold equipment for over 22,000 days of lifespan, a transaction that would significantly boost the government's power while solidifying his own wealth. He revealed to them the secret of reaching level 10 to extract abilities into reality, urging them to hurry before their enemies caught up. Immediately after, he set up a stall, not to sell, but to buy boss coordinates, drawing the attention of one of Jiang Lai's former lackeys. The man, who had been enslaved and tortured by Jiang Lai's group, revealed their crimes, confirming the MC's judgment. Soon after, a woman named Cayenne Shishi, under the alias Lace of Spades, appeared, surrounded by foreign players and acting with blatant arrogance. The MC recognized her as the woman from his past who had caused so much trouble, realizing she was now in the game and already causing problems. She logged off to make a call, instructing her subordinates to contact Shadow and offer him 3,000 days of lifespan to kill an insignificant person, a person she believed had rejected her advances. That person was, of course, Qin Feng. In another part of the game, Zhang Wei's team struggled with him berating the new healer for her incompetence. Frustrated, he logged off to eat, leaving the party in disarray. Back in reality, Qin Zioyu found herself alone in her new apartment, unable to get food delivery and realizing for the first time how much she had depended on the brother she had cast aside. She gave herself a pep talk, determined to be independent before logging back into the game. The MC, meanwhile, continued his grind, slaughtering 4 silver bosses in an hour and amassing a huge amount of loot and EXP. He calculated that he was close to his next class advancement, which would be crucial for tackling platinum bosses with higher stealth detection. As he returned to town to sell his loot, he was approached by a player who offered him a hit job on a nobody named Qin Feng for 3,000 days of lifespan. The MC immediately deduced that the client was Kayan Shishi, realizing she was trying to use Shadow to kill Qin Feng. He accepted the job, taking half the payment upfront as a deposit, planning to turn the tables on her. He was then approached by another player, a woman who offered to lead him to a gold-tier boss, the Plague Bearer. The MC, recognizing the danger of the boss's AoE poison, followed her, only for her to reveal it was a trap set by Dongfeng Zion, another player he had previously killed. The woman being blackmailed exposed the plot, hoping the MC would eliminate Dongfeng Zion for her. The MC, amused by the childish plan, agreed and proceeded to the boss cave. There, he unleashed a single, fully buffed attack that dealt over 80,000 damage, nearly one-shotting the gold-tier Plague Bearer. He decided to wait for Dongfeng Zion's ambush party to arrive before finishing the boss. The ambushers charged in, only to be stopped by a player named Shuzi, who was part of their convoluted plan and wielded a powerful gold-grade shield. The MC, unimpressed, killed her with a single strike, then used Blossoming Curse on the corpses of the entire ambush party, wiping them out and draining their lifespan simultaneously. The informant, horrified and impressed, was rewarded with her freedom as the MC killed the Plague Bearer. The loot included a gold-tier skill book, Blackout, which allowed him to blind enemies, a perfect counter to bosses with anti-stealth abilities. He learned it instantly, knowing his damage efficiency would no longer be affected by a boss's detection level. The MC equipped his new Platinum-tier Plague Blade, its unique poison explosion effect a perfect addition to his arsenal, then spent some time grinding on small monsters to push his EXP over the edge for his first job advancement. He was enveloped in a golden light as he advanced from a 0-tier to a 1st-tier Shadow, his attribute bonuses tripling and his core passives receiving massive upgrades. His stealth level increased to +2, his backstab multiplier jumped from 2x to 3x, and most crucially, he could now use stealth skills while already stealthed, allowing for true permanent invisibility. Just as he was reveling in his new power, a system announcement declared that 7 players had reached level 10 in Jianghai City, triggering the opening of the teleportation array to the god-abandoned continent in 10 minutes. The MC checked the leaderboard and was pleased to see it filled with familiar names like Grey Rose and Wang Meng, a stark contrast to his previous life, where foreign players dominated the early game, a direct result of his influence on the server. Back in the real world, the authorities, acting on the MC's intelligence, successfully arrested the main members of the Dajiang industrial criminal group, though 3 remained in-game and out of reach. The police chief praised the MC's crucial contributions, noting that his intel on extracting abilities to reality had allowed them to act before their targets became super-powered threats, preventing a bloodbath and averting the kind of chaos erupting in other countries. He declared Shadow an indispensable talent for the nation and resolved to secure his loyalty completely. Back in the game, the MC teleported to the god-abandoned continent, arriving in the desolate, monster-infested ruins of what he recognized as his home, Jianghai City. He knew from his past life that every player would be teleported to a ruined version of their real-world city, a bizarre and unexplained feature of the game. He effortlessly dispatched a monster with his upgraded skills, then set off towards the northwest, heading for the location that would become his god-slaying guild's shelter in his previous life. Other players, including Wang Meng's party, also arrived in their respective city ruins, shocked by the familiar yet devastated landscapes and immediately beset by powerful monsters. Wang Meng's team struggled against even a normal monster, realizing the vast power gap between the starter towns and the new continent, and decided their only hope was to find the MC. They followed a trail of loot he had intentionally left behind, fighting their way through the ruins towards his location. The MC, meanwhile, reached his destination, a massive hidden underground palace that had been his guild's fortress. He recalled the arduous battle it took to conquer it in his past life, a fight that nearly wiped out his 18 elite members. This time, however, he was confident he could take it alone. Entering the land of soul purification, he was greeted by hordes of level 12 gold-tier elemental spirits. He used his blackout skill to blind them, then tore through their ranks with instant shadow slash, clearing the entire main hall in seconds. Realizing the sheer number of monsters in the massive complex, he understood it would be a huge but rewarding task to clear them all, one that would surely provide enough evolution points to upgrade his greedy hand again. After systematically clearing every hall and room, he knew the Guardian boss would soon appear. Across the world, players from London and New York also found themselves in eerily accurate ruins of their own cities, struggling to survive the sudden difficulty spike. Back in the Zhonghai ruins, Wang Meng's party followed the trail of loot to the spot where the MC had disappeared, finding a hidden bunker that he had told them about, a safe haven in the chaotic new zone. They contacted him, and he confirmed he was busy, promising to sell them gear later. Back in the underground palace, the Guardian appeared, Fei Sa-er, the Soul Purifier, a formidable level 15 Platinum-tier boss. Remembering the brutal fight from his past, the MC knew the boss's single-target lightning attacks were lethal. However, with his vastly superior stats and skills this time, he was no longer forced to tank the hits. He unleashed a devastating opening combo, stacking Slit Throat, Instant Shadow Slash, and the Plague Blade's explosion to instantly shear off a third of the boss's 750,000 HP. As the boss entered its second phase, becoming invincible and summoning lightning orbs, the MC calmly recalled the strategy his team had failed to execute in his past life, a failure that led to Qin Zhaoyu rage quitting. He swiftly destroyed the orbs with venom darts, triggering the third phase. A relentless storm of AoE lightning strikes across the entire arena. In his past life, this phase had required 4 priests just to survive. This time, he simply activated his epic-tier Blacklight shield, leaped into the air, and continued his assault, completely immune to the lightning storm below. He finished off the boss with another instant shadow slash, becoming the first player in the world to defeat a platinum-grade boss and reaching level 11. He claimed ownership of the land of soul purification, his new private hideout, and marveled at the fact that real-world weapons were corroding and becoming useless, making his new base one of the safest places on Earth. In a starter town, Qin Zhaoyu and her new party were repeatedly getting wiped by a simple silver boss, devolving into bitter arguments and blaming each other for their failures. Just then, the global announcement of Shadow's platinum boss kill echoed through the game, leaving them and players everywhere in absolute shock and awe at his seemingly impossible power. The MC, having reaped massive rewards from his kill, finally had enough evolution points to upgrade Greedy Hand to Legendary tier. The upgrade was incredible, increasing the bonus loot from 3 to 5 pieces and granting him a new passive, Greed Space, which added 100 extra inventory slots. He used his new skill on the boss's corpse, collecting a mountain of loot, then used his remaining points to upgrade all of his core skills to Epic tier, including the now God tier Blossoming Curse, which could now absorb non-tradable lifespan orbs from defeated enemies. After receiving intel from his informant that Dongfang Zion was having a family gathering, he sold a massive batch of gear to Wang Meng's team for a hefty sum, and then teleported back to the starter village. He synchronized his new level and job advancement to reality, then spent a fortune in tradable lifespan to extract all of his upgraded skills and equipment, his real-world power now nearly matching his in-game avatar. After grabbing his belongings using his now real Greedy Hand storage, he left his old apartment, knowing it was no longer safe. He arrived at the Jianin restaurant where the Dongfang family was celebrating their newfound power and plotting to capture Shadow. Unseen, the MC slipped past their armed guards and summoned his devout follower, ordering it to leave no survivors. The monster tore through the banquet hall, its claws and spectral flames making short work of the armed but powerless humans. Dongfang Zion, in a panic, tried to escape to log back into the game, only to be confronted by the MC himself. The MC killed him and the rest of the family, then used his legendary blossoming curse on the corpses, absorbing a staggering 27,000 days of tradable lifespan and 482 years of non-tradable life in a single massive harvest. The MC watched as the aftermath of his massacre unfolded, the area completely sanitized by his legendary blossoming curse skill, leaving no bodies or blood, only a room full of bullet holes. The police arrived to find a pristine crime scene with no victims, baffling investigators who couldn't explain the disappearance of the entire Dongfang family. Having eliminated his first major threat, the MC set his sights on his next target, Kayan Shishi, who was currently in Madu. Needing a faster way to travel the 300 kilometers, he decided to find a mount in the game. He logged back in and was immediately contacted by a news team with great news. Zio Hai, their lucky charm, had literally stumbled into the entrance to a tomb while avoiding monsters. The MC, recognizing the girl's uncanny ability to find hidden content, took the coordinates and headed to the location, a massive well leading down into the earth. Inside the Tomb of Resentment, he was immediately confronted by the Guardian, a level 12 gold-tier vengeful ghost. He knew its physical attacks were devastating, capable of one-shotting him, but he was prepared. He activated Graceful Release and unleashed a perfectly timed instant shadow slash combined with Slit Throat, dealing massive damage. The ghost, enraged, retaliated with a surprise corpse explosion as it died. A deadly trap the MC only survived thanks to his Ghost Shadow Blur's dodge proc. He looted the corpse, obtaining 2 platinum-tier items he could use, the Dark Knight Ring Blade skill book and the Resentment leather armor. He immediately learned the new skill, an AoE magic attack that was perfect for his spirit-focused shadow build, and evolved it to epic tier, significantly increasing its range and damage. He then equipped the new armor, a major defensive upgrade, and marveled at his luck, hoping to find a mount deeper within the tomb. Meanwhile, back in the starter village, Kinzaioyu's latest party wiped again, and her teammates finally snapped, blaming her incompetence and lack of brain for all their failures before abandoning her. Desperate, and with her lifespan dwindling, she cycled through her list of former admirers, trying to find someone to carry her, but was brutally rejected by every single one, each man mocking her for her arrogance and the trouble she caused. Utterly alone, and with only 2.5 years of tradable life left, a horrifying realization dawned on her. The only person who had never abandoned her was the brother she had so callously discarded, Qin Feng. Believing he would surely forgive her, she went to his apartment, her plan to feign obedience just long enough to get back on her feet before abandoning him again. She knocked, called out sweetly, then pounded on the door in a rage when he didn't answer, only to find the door unlocked and the apartment completely empty. He had moved out, leaving no trace behind. Utterly defeated, she collapsed, realizing he was truly gone. Deep within the Tomb of Resentment, the MC reached the final chamber and opened the main coffin, releasing the final boss. It was a deadly miasma, a gold-tier boss that was completely immune to physical attacks. He recalled a story from his past life where this very boss had been unleashed and caused massive casualties due to its possession ability. However, armed with his newly acquired magic skill, Dark Knight Ring Blade, he made short work of the ethereal monster, dispatching it with ease. Though the loot was only gold tier, he used his legendary greedy hand and pulled a rare item from the corpse, a Mount Bell. To his delight, it summoned a Ghost Night Wolf, one of the fastest early-game mounts, which also came with its own stealth ability and powerful combat skills. With his new companion, he set off for the Jianghai Arena, a massive multi-level structure perfect for grinding levels quickly. He and his wolf tore through the hordes of monsters inside, a blur of shadow and phantom claws. Elsewhere in the ruins, a Yu's team successfully took down a gold-tier boss, but the victory felt hollow. Ma Naliang, the arrogant son of a bureau director, belittled the MC's achievements, claiming he was just a sneaky assassin hiding in the shadows, while he himself was an upright person. And Yu fiercely defended the MC, pointing out his unparalleled solo achievements, and reminding Ma Naliang that their current success was built on the gear and intel Shadow had provided. Their argument was interrupted by the discovery of the drops from their boss kill, a paltry collection of silver and gold items that paled in comparison to the platinum gear the MC casually sold. Meanwhile, Wang Meng worried about the MC's growing notoriety and the enemies he was making, particularly in the wake of the Dongfang family's mysterious disappearance, a case many were already pinning on Shadow. And Yu, however, declared that even if the MC was responsible, she would stand by him and clean up any messes, recognizing his immense value to their nation's survival. As her team cleared out the arena, they found it strangely empty, the ground littered with hundreds of monster corpses and loot orbs, a clear sign that the MC had already passed through. And you then spotted him in the distance, riding his new ghost night wolf mount, and called out to him. He traded them all the loot he had just gathered, then thanked Zio Hai personally for the tomb's location, much to the chagrin of the jealous Ma Naliang, who was left fuming in the background. The MC continued his grind, clearing out the entire Colosseum arena and evolving his skills even further with the massive haul of evolution points. He upgraded Bestowal of Mercy to Mythic tier, making every hit a weak point strike, and his Liar's Pendant granted him a permanent +1 to his stealth level, bringing his total to an undetectable level 4. Just as he was admiring his new power, the steel saintess, a powerful sanctuary guardian, was awakened nearby, and he saw his old rival from his past life, Chen Wuming, leading the charge against it. Chen Wuming, a Templar Knight, was the leader of the exploitative Knights Sanctum Guild, a man who had fought the MC for 9 long years with no clear victor. Seeing his old foe again, the MC decided it was the perfect time to settle their old score. He ambushed Chen Wuming's guild, slaughtering them with Dark Night Ring Blade and using Blossoming Curse on their corpses, much to Chen Wuming's shock and fury. The MC taunted him, saying he doesn't eat beef, before wiping out the rest of his guild members and leaving him utterly defeated. Among the dead was Qin Zioyu, who had joined the guild as a black slave. Her lifespan so low that the curse barely absorbed anything from her. The MC, feeling nothing but contempt for her fate, turned his attention to the steel saintess. The boss's first phase was simple, and he quickly brought it to half health, triggering its second phase where it awakened a sealed demon and gained a powerful damage reflection ability. The MC was about to use a group of onlookers as cannon fodder when another player, the streamer, Safety First, stepped in to fight the boss. Safety First was a soul warrior, a class that relied on perfectly timed dodges to empower its attacks. He put on a dazzling display, flawlessly rolling through the boss's attacks and landing powerful counter-strikes. However, his flashy sword style was his undoing. The multi-hit attacks triggered the boss's damage reflection multiple times, killing him instantly. With the other players now too scared to engage, the MC realized he would have to face the boss head-on, even though his own damage over time skills would also trigger the deadly reflection. As the steel saintess began its retreat towards the church sanctum to heal, the MC knew he couldn't let it escape. While onlookers debated his insane power and speculated about his level 4 stealth, he activated his 10-layer blacklight shield, a massive buffer against the boss's reflect damage. He unleashed instant shadow slash, his shield absorbing the 3 reflected hits as the other 6 strikes landed during the boss's attack animation, a crucial window where the reflect was inactive. He narrowly survived, his shield shattering from the boss's counterattack just as he moved out of range, a testament to the battle's razor-thin margins. Before the stunned crowd could react, he snatched the lifespan orb dropped by the defeated Safety First and used Blossoming Curse on another player who tried to steal his loot, then vanished. He patiently waited for his blacklight shield to come off cooldown, then repeated the risky maneuver, slowly but safely whittling down the boss's remaining health until he could finally deliver the finishing blow. With the Titanium tier boss defeated, he looted its corpse using his Mythic tier greedy hand, obtaining a piece of emerald-grade gear and a skill book. The armor, Black Flame's gift, came with a powerful defense-shredding debuff, and the skill, Assassin's Intuition, was a much-needed anti-stealth ability. He immediately evolved both, maxing out his new gear's debuff potential and upgrading his anti-stealth to level 5, making him virtually undetectable and capable of seeing any foe. Jin Yu, recognizing the immense strategic value of such a base, immediately agreed to report it to her superiors. She then hired him for another job, to deal with a group of 7 reviving gold-tier bosses in Darkmoon Town, a problem her own forces couldn't solve. The MC, suspecting the involvement of an ancient god slate, a powerful artifact, accepted the 10-year lifespan payment and teleported away. In Darkmoon Town, he found Chu Yan's family being harassed by P. Curs and intervened, effortlessly slaughtering the attackers and saving them. He recognized Chu Yan's mother and father, leaders of the charitable Dreamsend River Guild from his past life, and was pleased to see them thriving, a small positive change in this new timeline. He then headed to the coordinates Yu provided, finding the 7 regenerating bosses. Using his summoned devout follower as a probe, he confirmed they had no special abilities beyond brute strength, then used his epic tier Dark Night Ring Blade to wipe them all out simultaneously, preventing their revival mechanic. Killing them revealed a massive, fleshy boss covered in ancient god script, which the MC recognized and translated. Ancient god of disaster, utopia. He correctly deduced the puzzle, attacking the symbols on the boss's body in the right order to trigger the next phase, which involved killing summoned monsters near their corresponding coffins. He easily cleared the final phase, obtaining the ancient god's slate of disaster, a powerful artifact that could add both a positive and negative affix to his equipment. He immediately used it on his emerald armor, massively increasing its debuff stacks at the cost of a negligible stat reduction. With his newfound power, he evolved Instant Shadow Slash to Legendary, granting him a powerful stacking shield with each hit, and then set off for Madu to finally deal with Kaien Shishi. In the Magic City ruins, he found Kaien Shishi and her group of foreign players bullying and killing weaker Daxia players, their racist taunts echoing through the ruins. After they had their fun and logged off to party in the real world, the MC followed. He sold the church sanctum key to a news team for 2,000 years of lifespan, then logged out himself, fully armed with his in-game power. In a Madu hotel, he was ambushed by thugs who had taken over the building, but he dispatched them with a casual flick of his wrist, unleashing Dark Knight Ring Blade in the real world for the first time. He then tracked down Kaien Shishi, who was plotting with a mole within the government forces, a man named Q Heyonin, to test the MC's allegiance. The MC arrived at the staged confrontation, and, to Kaien Shishi's shock, immediately slaughtered the government forces, including the mole, with a single devastating AoE attack. He then coolly introduced himself to the stunned woman. "Hello, Spade. I am Shadow." The MC stood before a stunned Kaien Shishi, his presence radiating an aura of overwhelming power as her foreign companions gawked at the massive damage numbers floating above the corpses of the fallen players. One of them, struggling with the local language, tried to greet the MC, but his words came out as curses, earning him a cold glare. The MC, feigning ignorance, apologized for the misunderstanding before suggesting they stick to the Daxia language to avoid future incidents, a thinly veiled threat. He then got down to business, demanding the head of Qin Feng as per their deal. Kaien Shishi, now completely captivated by his power and presence, dismissed the need for proof and completed the transaction, sending him the remaining 1,500 days of lifespan. She propositioned him, offering long-term cooperation in her body, but the MC simply stated he was leaving. Undeterred, she invited him to her yacht at the port that night to discuss the next assassination target, promising a reward several times larger. The MC agreed, and as he left, he overheard government players discussing the shocking turn of events, confirming their mole had been right about Shadow colluding with their enemy. That evening, the MC arrived at the designated yacht, his arrival noted by Kaien Shishi's guards. He was led to the deck where she waited, dressed seductively and offering him a glass of wine. Ignoring her attempts at flirtation, he cut straight to the chase, asking who the next target was. She laughed, calling him unromantic before downing her drink and moving closer, her intentions clear. Suddenly, she lunged, pushing him back against the railing, her hands exploring his body as she praised his physique. The wine she had given him was laced with a potent aphrodisiac, and as it took effect, she felt a burning sensation course through her, expecting him to be under her control. However, what she felt was not lust, but literal fire, as her body-protecting crystal pendant activated, nullifying a deadly attack just as her clothes were incinerated, revealing the MC, Qin Feng, standing before her, a summoned devout follower behind him. She stared in disbelief, realizing the man she had hired to kill Qin Feng was Qin Feng himself, the legendary Shadow. In a pathetic attempt to save her own life, she groveled, offering to be his slave, but the MC was unmoved. He casually asked about her 5 foreign companions, and when she couldn't answer, he killed her, absorbing her massive 659 years of tradable lifespan before using her phone to report the murder to the authorities, perfectly setting up his next target. The mole, Q Heyonin, arrived with his team, using a special skill on Kaien Shishi's corpse to track her killer. They opened fire on the location, but the MC had already anticipated this, using his summoned follower as a decoy. He then emerged from the shadows and killed Q Heyonin, revealing his identity as an insider to the stunned investigators before they could react. One of the investigators, Lin Qingyu, discovered the incriminating evidence on the phones of both victims, proving the MC's claims and revealing that he had orchestrated the entire event to expose the traitors. Overcome with awe and a little fear, she apologized to the MC for her team's hostile actions, to which he simply replied that he had repaid her before disappearing, leaving her to ponder his cryptic words and her own unlikely survival. Back in the game, Kinzaioyu was once again the cause of her party's wipe, her incompetence enraging her teammates to the point of physical violence. She later awoke in the respawn area, only to be killed again by an invisible force, a platinum boss called the Headless Assassin that her own misplaced healing spell had aggroed, which was now camping her spawn point. Elsewhere, the MC's informant, having witnessed her mother's death at the hands of Pete Kurz, hatched a devious plan for revenge against the MC's enemies. Her son, not yet old enough to play the game, suggested a plan to lure Shadow to a fireworks factory and detonate it, a plot designed to kill him in a massive explosion. The MC, unaware of the new threat, was busy enjoying the fruits of his labor, having extracted his hideout to a remote island in reality. He was then contacted by Enru, who informed him about the headless assassin that was terrorizing players in the Magic City ruins, its high stealth level making it impossible for them to fight. Seeing an opportunity, the MC accepted the job, arriving to find the arrogant streamer, safety first, attempting to solo the boss. The streamer was putting on a show, but his dodges were clumsy, and he was nearly killed before being saved by a banana peel conveniently thrown in his path. The MC revealed himself, having been the one to throw the peel, and effortlessly dispatched one of the assassin's 5 clones, revealing the boss's gimmick. He then met up with the disgraced Knights Sanctum Guild, including Kinzaioyu, who was now being treated as a pariah for her role in aggroing the boss. The MC ignored her pathetic pleas for help, and used instant shadow slash to wipe out the remaining clones and the true boss in a single devastating attack, once again leaving everyone speechless. He then invited Wang Meng and a few others to the Tower of Divine Authority, a hidden challenge area he knew from his past life, warning them that the NPCs inside disliked women, a clever lie to exclude Enru and keep his secrets safe. He led the small group to the tower, knowing the NPC inside would adjust the challenge based on the perceived strength of the party, and deliberately downplayed his own power to get an easier fight. The challenge began, and the NPC summoned a level 20 gold-tier obsidian skullcracker golem. The MC calmly directed his underleveled party, having Wang Meng tank the initial blow while the others attacked. When the golem enraged, he stepped in himself, using his shadow blade skill to dispel the buff with a single, precise strike. He continued to guide them, revealing his deep knowledge of the game's mechanics and effortlessly leading them through the boss's phases until it was finally defeated. The NPC, impressed, congratulated them on being the first to pass his trial and offered them the legendary Book of Divine Endowment in exchange for their lifespan. The MC, Qin Feng, finds himself and his crew in the crosshairs of a bizarre, 6-fingered NPC named Wickley after a teammate's careless observation triggers a deadly taboo. Unfazed, the MC calmly explains that these powerful beings are from other timelines, bound by ancient laws to trade divine gift books, items that can generate real-world supplies for player lifespan. While his team excitedly cashes in their life force for everything from food to a mecha maid, the MC sets his sights on a greater prize, a global first clear of the Tower of Divine Authority on its highest difficulty. Wickley mocks his ambition, summoning a golem with a staggering 500% stat boost, but the MC, recalling a past life where he faced even greater odds, simply readies his new weapon for a test run. What follows is a masterclass in assassination, a blur of motion and critical hits that leaves his teammates speechless and the golem decimated in seconds. The system erupts with announcements of his unprecedented achievement, enraging Wickley, who furiously banishes them all. Back in reality, the MC uses his newfound power to furnish a luxury apartment, complete with a robotic maid, while elsewhere, a detective grows suspicious of his activities. Returning to the game, the MC captures a new guild sanctuary and stumbles upon a fellow hidden-class assassin, Ghostshade, being harassed by thugs. After dispatching them with casual ease, he finds himself the target of the rescued girl's misunderstanding-fueled aggression. Her unique chain-based attacks prove intriguing, but are ultimately no match for his advanced stealth techniques. He effortlessly overpowers her and learns her tragic backstory involving the Dongfang family, a clan he himself has already dismantled. She begs for his help in her quest for revenge, offering to be his slave in return. He refuses to kill her target for her, but agrees to help her grow strong enough to do it herself, inviting her to his one-man guild and setting her on the path of class advancement. while she deals with the returning thugs, whose demise is comically swift once the MC officially captures the territory. He proceeds to solo the Sanctuary's Guardian, advancing his own class to Tier 2 and gaining a game-changing permanent stealth ability. Now a true phantom, he receives a call from his associate and Yu about another mysterious ruin, one that only the Fated One can enter. Naturally, the MC is that person and is teleported to a new challenge, defending a fragile crystal from waves of monsters in the cavern of the ice tide. He expertly prepares the battlefield with upgraded traps, turning the monster-filled corridor into a kill zone, only to realize the challenge is more complex than he first thought when ranged attackers appear in the darkness. He effortlessly catches Ghost Shade's tracking chains, holding them in his hand with a curious expression. He then yanks hard, pulling her off her feet and leaving her suspended upside down by her own weapon, her initial shock turning to indignant surprise. With the situation fully under control, he calmly introduces himself as Shadow and clarifies that he isn't her enemy, suggesting she can listen to him now. He asks about Dongfang Yu, confirming her connection to the Jianghai City Dongfang family, a fish that apparently slipped his net. Ghost Shade is stunned, realizing that the powerful figure before her is the one who wiped out the entire Dongfang clan. Her demeanor changes instantly from hostile to hopeful as she declares that the enemy of her enemy is her friend and that they can work together. The MC agrees to talk, but first, he wants to know why she's so intent on killing Dongfang Yu. Ghost Shade's eyes fill with tears as she recounts her tragic past. Before the game, Dongfang Yu killed her mother in a drunk driving incident and used her family's influence to escape justice. Her father, after collecting evidence to convict Dongfang Yu, was found dead in a river. His death officially ruled a suicide. Desperate and alone, Ghost Shade nearly ended her own life, but then the god-forsaken game descended, giving her a new path. Her first act in the game was to kill Dongfang Yu, but since a player's lifespan must be fully depleted for a true death, Dongfang Yu revived and has been sending players to hunt her ever since. She concludes her story by pleading with Brother Shadow, begging him to help her achieve her revenge. Despite her desperation, offering to serve him like a beast of burden, give him all her equipment, and even become his slave, the MC's answer is a simple and firm, "I refuse." He reiterates his position, stating that he won't help her kill her target. As despair washes over her, he clarifies his meaning. This is her revenge, something only she can complete herself. However, until she is strong enough to do so, he will help her. Hope rekindles in her eyes as she asks how he will help. His answer is to send her a guild invitation for his new guild, Shadow, which she promptly accepts, becoming its second member. He tells her that her one and only task now is to achieve her class advancement. How she does it is for her to figure out, warning that if she can't even manage that, she should give up on vengeance entirely. With that, he leaves her, reflecting that with a bit of guidance, the Blade of the Netherworld class holds immense potential. The MC then proceeds to the deepest part of the Spectre Academy to face its guardian, the mutated witch Stana. The boss's first phase renders it immune to physical damage, forcing him to rely on his elemental skills. He activates his speed buffs and spams Shadow Blade, turning into a mobile Gatling gun that rapidly melts the boss's health bar. In its second phase, the witch's other heads activate, unleashing a chaotic dance of area of effect attacks, but the MC declares the disco over and swiftly ends the fight. He is rewarded with loot, experience, and the key to the hideout, but most importantly, he is now eligible for his class advancement. He immediately accepts, and his Shadow class advances from Tier 1 to Tier 2. The advancement triples his class attribute bonuses and, most significantly, grants him a new passive. His attacks no longer break stealth, making him a truly invisible killer. A few minutes prior, Ghost Shade had been confronted by the same thugs from the Asura Hall Guild. They mock her for returning, far more prepared this time, but as they close in, she uses Shadow Dive and a flare grenade to disorient them. One of the thugs manages to grab her as she attempts to use a suicide poison item to escape, gloating that she has no chance. His victory is short-lived. A system notification suddenly announces that the Spectre Academy has been claimed by the Shadow Guild, and a barrier activates, identifying them as intruders. A cleansing light envelops them, and they are instantly vaporized, leaving Ghost Shade staring in utter disbelief, realizing the MC had defeated the Guardian and claimed the sanctuary in the few minutes they were fighting. The MC inspects his loot from the witch, including a powerful ring and a skill book for Venomous Trap, before using his evolution points to upgrade his backstab boost passive to legendary. The new legendary effect makes all his damage count as a backstab while he is stealthed, a perfect synergy with his new permanent invisibility. His upgrade is interrupted by a message from an Yu, who has found a new ruin in Zhanghai City with a teleport orb that rejects everyone except the Fated One. The MC agrees to investigate, easily traveling between the two cities using his newly linked guild shelters. He arrives and playfully startles an Yu, who explains she found the ruin's entrance after accidentally falling off a cliff. After warning her to be more careful with her lifespan, he learns of her team's clever method of farming monsters to replenish their non-tradable life. She leads him to the teleport orb, which confirms she is not the Fated One. The MC steps forward, and upon his touch, the orb glows intensely, and they both vanish. He finds himself in the cavern of the Ice Tide, his mission to protect a central crystal from waves of monsters. Understanding that failure means permanent lockout from the area, he immediately invests his remaining evolution points to upgrade Venomous Trap to its epic rarity. The traps now have a wider reach and greater potency, and he strategically places them to cover the entire entrance tunnel, creating a perfect kill zone. As the first wave of melee monsters charges in, they trigger the traps and are instantly annihilated by his guaranteed backstab damage from stealth. The MC smirks at the simplicity of the Defend Athena-style challenge, but his confidence is slightly checked when he notices a new threat emerging from the darkness. A cluster of glowing red eyes belonging to ranged mobs. Elsewhere in the game world, Dongfang Yu, in-game name Phoenix Dance 9 Heavens, confronts the leader of the Asura Hall Guild, incensed that they have abandoned their contract to hunt Ghostshade. The guild leader explains that since Ghostshade has joined the Shadow Guild, the matter is too hot for them to handle, but Dongfang Yu is not satisfied, sneering at him and asking if he considers Shadow a greater threat than her. She threatens his real-world safety, reminding him she has his personal information, a taunt that finally pushes him over the edge. Enraged by her repeated insults, he declares that while he can't deal with Shadow, he can certainly deal with her, and promptly kills her in a flurry of blows. In the real world, Dongfang Yu throws a violent tantrum, demanding her husband from the powerful Chu family arrest the members of Asura Hall for their rebellion. Her husband calmly reassures her that he has already set a plan in motion, having arranged for the Black Dragon Hall to cause trouble for Shadow. Mollified but still seething, Dongfang Yu vows to slaughter every last one of her enemies and avenge the Dongfang clan. Back in the cavern of the Ice Tide, the MC makes short work of the remaining ranged monsters, his Shadow Blade skill resetting its cooldown with every weak point hit, allowing for a continuous barrage of attacks. The mission completes, and a glowing epic-grade treasure chest materializes before him. As he opens it, he is engulfed in a brilliant golden light, and a majestic, ethereal woman appears, speaking in the ancient tongue of the old gods. Though he doesn't understand the words, the power of his Eye of Judgment allows him to grasp her meaning as she identifies him as the inheritor of the power of judgment. The divine entity introduces herself as Asahiz, an envoy of judgment, and pledges to follow him and witness his rise. She presents him with a gift, Asahiz's summoning bell, an artifact that will allow him to summon her at specific level milestones to undertake special challenges. If he completes all three, she will take up residence in his hideout and provide a unique skill upgrade function. Asahiz then offers him a one-time, free opportunity to upgrade any one of his skills to his current level. The MC considers his options, understanding that a skill's power is determined not just by its quality, which his infinite evolution talent can already manipulate, but also by its level requirement. Recognizing a golden opportunity to enhance a rare, high-grade skill, he chooses his mythical tier ability, Graceful Release, and watches as Asahiz elevates it from level 10 to 16, dramatically increasing its damage modifiers. With her gift bestowed, Asahiz fades away, leaving behind a shimmering teleport gate. Before he leaves, the MC notices something else left in the chest, an epic-grade leg armor called Bafish's Equivalent Exchange Pact. The armor possesses a remarkable special ability, allowing him to sacrifice one piece of equipment or a skill book up to epic grade to randomly receive another of the same level and grade for his own class. The MC is ecstatic, realizing this item is a game-changer that will allow him to convert his stockpile of miscellaneous gear into assassin-specific items. He steps through the portal and reappears outside, where Yu has been patiently waiting for him for the past hour. Touched by her loyalty, he thanks her by giving her a platinum-grade magic shield skill book that dropped from the ruins chest. The scene then shifts to the Knights Sanctuary Guild, who are celebrating the successful capture of their first hideout. They shower praise upon a young woman named Xiaoyu, who discovered the location. She gives an emotional and slightly awkward speech, thanking everyone from her parents to her haters for motivating her. When asked by her guild leader how she found the hideout, she claims she saw its location in a dream. Amused by her story, the guild leader plays along, rewarding her with a year of lifespan and encouraging her to keep having such profitable dreams. Later, Xiaoyu explores a creepy, dilapidated building, searching for a platinum-grade hideout she also saw in a dream. Unbeknownst to her, she's being tailed by 3 other players who suspect her dreams are a cover for something else. Her search is violently interrupted by the appearance of a grotesque soul-sucking hag, which terrifies her into fainting. The stalkers watch in horror as the monster instantly drains the entire lifespan of one of their party members before turning on the other 2, who are quickly dispatched. Xiaoyu awakens from her faint only to have the floor collapse beneath her, dropping her directly in front of the hidden entrance to the platinum-grade hideout. She jubilantly contacts her guild leader, who tells her to wait for reinforcements. Her relief is short-lived as the soul-sucking hag reappears, its clicking footsteps echoing in the silence. Mustering her courage, the hidden-class life sacrifice priest prepares to fight for her life. She launches an attack with venomous vines and a corrupting poison mist, managing to afflict the slow-moving creature. However, her victory is cut short as she realizes her own poison is filling the enclosed space, and she's beginning to suffocate. In a moment of desperate clarity, she uses a skill on herself, resulting in her immediate death and respawn back at the guild's main hideout. She reports to her guild leader, who is initially baffled as to how she survived an encounter with a soul-sucking hag, a monster known to drain lifespan completely. When she explains that she killed herself to escape, he erupts in praise, hailing her as a genius for discovering the only possible counter to the monster's deadly ability. The guild masses at the new hideout, and after a rousing speech, they discover the entrance is a massive, sealed stone gate. It doesn't take them long to realize that the immobile gate is, in fact, the hideout's guardian, and they begin to attack it with glee. At that moment, the MC receives a system notification that his hideout, the soul-cleansing grounds, is under attack. Seeing the pitifully slow rate at which the gate's durability is decreasing, he opts to ride his wolf there instead of using a precious war teleport charge. En route, he comes across a player being accosted by members of the Knights Sanctuary Guild. He recognizes the victim as Yang Xiaoya, a kind co-worker from his pre-game life. Just as the bullies are about to strike, they find themselves inexplicably frozen. Yang Xiaoya catches a glimpse of a pair of familiar, intense eyes before the figure disappears, leaving the bullies to drop dead from an invisible attack. She's left stunned, wondering if she just saw a shadow, and why his eyes look so much like Qin Feng's. The MC arrives at his hideout to a hero's welcome from the members of the guild he'd saved previously, who now worship him as a paragon of righteousness. He gets straight to the point, asking their leader, Han Feng, about the hideout they're attacking before casually revealing that the hideout is his. Han Feng is dumbfounded, knowing a player can only own one hideout, but the MC explains that a guild can also own one, and he has both. The shock of realizing they've been attacking their idol's property is too much for the guild leader, who promptly faints. The MC demands a steep 500 years of lifespan as compensation for the damage. When the guild leader comes to, he immediately turns his fury on Xiaoyu, blaming her for the catastrophe. Overcome with guilt, Xiaoyu steps forward and offers to take the full punishment, even offering to become the MC's lifelong servant if he will spare her guild. The guild leader, Chen Wuming, glares at her and asks the MC if he thinks she's worth 500 years, his voice dripping with malice. The rest of the guild also turns on her, calling her a jinx. The MC, bored with the display, revises his terms, 100 years of lifespan immediately, and the remaining 400 years will be paid in blood. He wants them to deliver every guild member with slaughterer status to him, 1 head per year. The guild leader readily agrees, and the MC proceeds to execute 400 of their PK players, conveniently clearing his own slaughterer status in the process. As a final measure, he tasks the Knights Sanctuary Guild with guarding the hideout, ensuring they won't cause trouble elsewhere. But just as the situation is resolved, he receives another urgent notification. His other hideout, the Wraith Academy, is also under attack. He immediately uses his daily war teleport to travel to the Magic City ruins. Back at the soul-cleansing grounds, the Knights Sanctuary Guild leader spitefully orders Xiaoyu to remain behind on guard duty alone as punishment. At the Wraith Academy, a guild called the Black Dragon Palace is hammering away at the hideout's barrier. The MC arrives, invisible, trying to recall any past grievances with this guild, but coming up blank. The attackers unleash a powerful combined spell, a massive demonic dragon that slams into the barrier. The MC concludes they must be mercenaries and considers who among his living enemies would have hired them. From the shadows, the MC counters, summoning a massive black flame dragon that lets out a stunning roar. At the same time, a strange hand-drawn meteor falls from the sky. The attack does minimal damage, and the leader of the Black Dragon Palace scoffs, only to suddenly collapse, dead, without anyone laying a hand on him. A pink-haired woman in the attacking party immediately deduces that Shadow is present and invisible. She recognizes the art-based skills as the signature of the hidden class Soul Painter. This Soul Painter, Zhang Jinxuan, calls out to Senior Shadow, politely asking for permission to enter his hideout to find an item for her class advancement, promising to pay for the privilege. The MC recognizes her and her famous streamer grandfather, Old Zhang, from his past life. A hint of a smile plays on his lips as he recalls being a fan of their streams before clearing his throat and granting her request, causing the massive hideout gate to swing open. Zhang Jinxuan, the Soul Painter, steps forward into the Wraith Academy and directly addresses the invisible MC, asking what he wants from her guild. She explains that her class advancement requires a special material found only within this hideout, and referencing a past transaction where the MC sold a hideout for a hefty sum, offers to buy the Wraith Academy from him. The MC is intrigued by the Sky Dome Guild's ability to amass so much lifespan so quickly, but politely declines her offer to sell. Undeterred, Zhang Jinxuan pivots, proposing to rent the first floor for 3 years at the cost of 500 years of lifespan. The MC sees through her persistence, realizing that her true goal isn't just access for her class advancement, which he already offered, but to forge a lasting relationship with him and his power. To sweeten the deal, she makes an additional offer. Her guild, Sky Dome, will take care of the Black Dragon Palace Guild that had attacked his hideout earlier, effectively declaring war on them on his behalf. Impressed by her decisiveness and boldness, especially for someone so young, the MC agrees to the deal, much to her delight. After she leaves, the MC takes a moment to appreciate her lively personality before turning his attention back to his Bafish's equivalent exchange pact, whose cooldown has just finished. He uses the pact, sacrificing a training manual and receiving an emerald-grade limit break skill in return, Crimson Fang. This powerful single-target attack not only deals immense damage, but also provides significant lifesteal, a perfect addition to his arsenal. He immediately uses his evolution points to upgrade it to legendary, then invests the rest into evolving his Depths of Darkness passive to mythic, granting him a massive reduction in lifespan drain while stealthed, perfect for exploring high-level rage zones. Now level 17, he equips a full set of new emerald-grade gear he acquired through the exchange pact, significantly boosting his stats, though he laments the gear's less-than-stellar appearance before switching back to his signature Shadow-class skin. Meanwhile, in the real world, Dongfeng Yu orchestrates a trap, luring 4 players who are selling their lifespan to her secluded mansion under the guise of a transaction. She coldly instructs them to drop their lifespan as light orbs on the ground, and when they hesitate, she reveals her true intentions. Several hidden class players emerge from the shadows, surrounding the sellers. The leader of the sellers recognizes one as an insect manipulator and realizes they've walked into a high-level ambush, but it's too late. A fierce battle ensues. One of Dongfeng Yu's henchmen, a tank with a platinum-grade shield, holds the line while another, a gunslinger, unleashes a barrage of attacks from his fingertips. Dongfeng Yu gloats from the sidelines, ordering her men to capture the sellers alive so they can be enslaved to farm lifespan for her son. The leader of the sellers reveals his own hidden class, Plague Source, and catches one of the insect manipulator's high-speed drones with his bare hands, boasting that he has already set up a detection barrier. However, his bravado is short-lived. The gunslinger unleashes a powerful sonic boom attack, and the Plague Source user, having likely extracted too low a level, dies instantly from the shockwave. The last remaining seller, a support class, is easily subdued. Having witnessed the entire event from the beginning, the last remaining seller, a support class player, is easily subdued. Dongfeng Yu's bodyguard informs her that 2 are dead and 2 are alive, perfectly fulfilling the 50% promise she made to him. He also mentions knocking out an invisible teammate of theirs with a kick, but the survivor denies having any invisible party members, stating they were just a random group of sellers. The MC, meanwhile, arrives at the Magic Oblique Tower, another of Magic City's platinum-grade hideouts. He finds the entrance unguarded and the interior, a massive library-like maze already looted. He recalls that this hideout contains a sealed princess and knows the secret to teleporting directly to the top floor, pulling a specific, humorously titled book from a shelf. He arrives at the top to find a large guild, Fake Heavy Industries, already engaged in a chaotic battle against the hideout's guardian, the Despair Princess. He recognizes their leader, Huang Huifan, an illusionist whose signature portal skill allows her guild to employ a unique and relentless attrition tactic, setting a portal entrance at the respawn point and the exit right next to the boss, allowing fallen members to instantly rejoin the fight. However, the MC knows this tactic is futile against the Despair Princess, who absorbs the lifespan of her victims 100 times faster than normal monsters, growing stronger with every kill. He watches as the princess is on the verge of evolving into an emerald-grade boss, a point from which the guild will not be able to recover. He appears before Huang Huifan, offering to defeat the boss for her in exchange for 1,000 years of lifespan and any assassin-class items that drop. Her hot-headed son, Huang Ziking, immediately scoffs at the offer, but the MC simply ignores him and destroys their portal, explaining that they will soon understand why. Just as predicted, the boss begins to glow, signaling its evolution. At that moment, the MC receives a message from Ghostshade. She has located Dongfang Yu. He arranges to meet her at the Graveyard of Bones, his mind now juggling two high-priority targets. He meets Ghostshade, who describes the powerful class holder protecting Dongfang Yu, a close-range fighter who is fast, strong, regenerates instantly, and is surrounded by a 10-meter ring of smoke that detects her stealth. The MC immediately identifies the class as the Source of Plague, a rare hidden class whose main weakness is a susceptibility to mental corrosion. He explains that Ghostshade's own class, Blade of the Netherworld, will evolve into the Wraith of the Netherworld at Tier 2, which will be the perfect counter. He advises her to train diligently at the Graveyard of Bones, a dangerous but rewarding leveling spot, to achieve her class advancement as quickly as possible. As he demonstrates how to efficiently kill the elite monsters there, she momentarily feels a terrifying killing intent from him when the topic of revenge comes up. Elsewhere in the Jianghai City ruins, and Yu's teammate Ziohei is exploring when she discovers a delicious, plum-like fruit that grants experience points when eaten. While she's happily munching away, she receives an urgent call from an Yu. Another teammate, Ma Neiliang, has been captured by a boss at the corrupted coast. Ziohei arrives at the coast to find a grotesque, bloated emerald-grade boss, the soul devourer Andre Gil, literally eating other monsters. To her horror, she realizes the captured Ma Neiliang is being held by the creature. The boss then proceeds to excrete several purple orbs. Ziohei connects the dots, realizing with dawning horror that the delicious black plums she was just eating were the boss's droppings, and lets out a blood-curdling scream. Her scream attracts the boss's attention, which then unleashes a psychic wave. All of her teammates are suddenly overcome with an insatiable hunger and begin to gorge themselves, rapidly turning into bloated versions of themselves. Ziohei, however, remains unaffected, realizing the boss eats the fattest person it sees, and with her teammates about to become the main course, she desperately calls the MC for help. The MC is thrilled to hear the name of the boss, as it's the very bloodline monster he's been searching for, and he teleports to her location immediately. He arrives just as the Soul Devourer is about to eat the now corpulent and Yu and Wang Meng. He explains to a confused Ziohei that the only way to resist the boss's gluttony-inducing whispers is to eat its excrement, which is why she was immune. Without another word, he engages the boss, unleashing a devastating combo of graceful release and instant shadow slash. He then activates his newly acquired limit break, Crimson Blade, unleashing a single cataclysmic strike that deals over 1,000,000 damage and instantly kills the emerald-grade boss. The system erupts with global announcements of his world-first kill, and he is rewarded with experience, evolution points, and most importantly, the Soul Devourer bloodline. This bloodline not only boosts the effectiveness of his stats, but also grants him the ability to devour skills of his own class to permanently increase his attribute conversion rates. He immediately tests this by devouring a low-level skill, which provides a small but permanent buff to his strength conversion. Then comes the true breakthrough. He realizes the devoured skill becomes a passive that can be upgraded with his infinite evolution talent. He spends his points to upgrade the devoured skill to legendary, instantly changing his strength conversion from 3 to 5 physical attack per point. A slow, dangerous smile spreads across his face as he comprehends the limitless potential of this new power. By continuously devouring and upgrading skills, he can scale his stats to unimaginable heights, making himself truly unbeatable. And Yu and Wang Meng, now back to their normal sizes, thank the MC profusely for saving them from a rather undignified end inside the Soul Devourer. And Yu, embarrassed about her temporary weight gain, is jokingly reassured by her teammates. As a reward, the MC simply asks for any assassin skill books they can find, then takes his leave. The narrative then flashes back to the moment the MC first arrived at the magic oblique tower, showing the battle against the Despair Princess from the perspective of the fake Heavy Industries Guild. They are struggling against the boss, relying heavily on their healer, Xiaoqui, and her Tree of Life skill to stay alive. Just as they are on the verge of victory, the MC arrives and destroys their portal, cutting off their reinforcements. Moments later, the Despair Princess's health fully recovers, and she evolves, unleashing a devastating area of effect attack that wipes out the entire guild. Huang Ziking, Huang Huifen's son, respawns and rushes back to find his mother, who explains that the boss suddenly regained all its health and transformed into a massive egg before annihilating them. Huang Huifen deduces that the MC must have known the boss would evolve, which is why he understood their attrition strategy was doomed from the start. She grimly accepts that her guild is no match for an emerald-grade boss and concludes that only someone like Shadow has a chance of defeating it. The MC, meanwhile, confronts the newly formed Despair Egg. He notes its staggering 10 million HP, but also its complete lack of offensive capabilities or anti-stealth detection. Realizing it's a sitting duck, he begins a steady assault, using his skills to build up his limit break gauge. He unleashes Crimson Blade after Crimson Blade, chipping away at the massive health pool. He knows that no matter how much health it has, killing it is just a matter of time. The egg finally cracks, revealing not a monster, but a small, sleeping girl with only 10 HP, the true form of the Despair Princess. The MC wonders if he must kill the child to defeat the boss, but before he can act, a massive, cursed white dragon materializes behind her. The system identifies it as a level 100 mythical-grade boss, stunning the MC. He hears a faint heartbeat and realizes the legend of the princess cursed by the white dragon might be true. The dragon, however, is merely an illusion. It flickers and dissipates, leaving behind a pulsating, cursed heart. A system message explains that he has prevented the resurrection of an old god named Kexis and gives him a choice. Use the heart of the curse to become a kin of Kexis, or destroy it to receive a mythical-grade item. Wary of the potential consequences of using the heart, the MC decides to destroy it without hesitation. The moment he shatters the heart, he is teleported into a memory, a vision of the past. He finds himself inhabiting the body of a white-haired, winged man named Arts, who is speaking to a young, green-haired princess. The princess is upset that Arts is leaving for battle again, accusing him of breaking his promise to teach her wind magic and lumping him in with all other men as a liar. To appease her, Arts gives her the Scale of Promise, a magical artifact that will cause anyone who breaks a promise made upon it to lose their wings and the ability to fly. Reassured, she lets him go, and he transforms into a magnificent white dragon before flying off, leaving 3 shadow clones to keep her company. The MC realizes he is inside the sealed timeline contained within the heart of the curse. He watches as the princess spends the day playing with the shadow guards, gathering ingredients for a grand feast to celebrate Arts' return. She prepares a rather unique menu, including stir-fried obsidian and steamed lava rocks, proudly declaring them all to be Arts' favorites. She waits for him, eventually falling asleep at the table as night falls. An elderly scholar wakes her, informing her it's nearly midnight. The princess panics, realizing Arts hasn't returned and the midnight bell is about to ring, which would trigger the curse of the Scale of Promise. The scholar informs her that the battle at the front is fierce and that the enemy has summoned a terrifying monster from the sea. The scale in her hand cracks, a sign that the promise has been broken. Desperate, she tries to find a way to lift the curse, but the scholar can only rush her to her father. As they run through the halls, Art suddenly appears before them, seemingly unharmed. He explains that the battle was troublesome but has been dealt with, and then proceeds to enthusiastically eat the cold, rock-filled feast she prepared for him. He then agrees to her earlier request and transforms into a dragon to take her flying. They soar through the night sky, and she is mesmerized by the beautiful world he sees from above, making him promise to protect it forever. He gently returns her to her room where she thanks him and falls asleep. The vision then shifts, revealing the truth. Arts is gravely injured, coughing up blood, having lied to the princess about his condition. He speaks with the king, who reveals that the enemy empire, Manga, is conducting a ritual to summon monsters by sacrificing lifespan. Arts clutches his chest, where a pulsating, cursed growth is visible. 5 years later, the kingdom is overrun by a monstrous army. The princess, now a young woman, rushes to find Arts, begging him to transform into his dragon form and repel the invaders. Arts, however, refuses, stating that his only duty now is to protect her. The king then reveals the tragic history of the Manga Empire, a peaceful nation blessed with blood flowers that granted them incredibly long lifespans. To maintain peace, they sent powerful emissaries, the guardians of the kingdom, like Arts to other nations, but this only made the other kingdoms covet their power and fear their longevity. A secret alliance was formed to eradicate the Manga people. Plagues, curses, and betrayal rained down upon them until their sacred blood flowers began to wither. In their final moments of despair, the entire Mergan population performed a ritual called abandoned by God, sacrificing their own lifespans to become monstrous vessels for beings whose only purpose was to destroy humanity. Arts reveals that he can no longer transform into a dragon. He will only become one of those monsters, and his only wish is to protect the princess. The king, aged and weary, recalls his long friendship with the ever-youthful Arts, a bond strained by the difficult choices he had to make as a ruler. The vision shows the birth of the princess and how the king, upon seeing her, finally understood a terrible truth. The memory flashes forward to the fall of the capital. The king's trusted scholar, Lewin, arrives at the tower, gravely wounded, to escort the princess to safety as per the king's final orders. The princess refuses to leave, declaring that the tower is her home and that she will stay with Arts. Arts, knowing his fate, seals a final promise with her on the scale of promise, a promise to never meet again, before using his power to teleport her away with the scholar. He then turns to face the encroaching darkness, revealing that the cursed ones are not just the Manga people. As he looks down at his own hand, a pulsating red curse mark appears, and a monstrous, tentacled creature erupts from the scholar's body, revealing the horrifying truth of their enemy. The vision continues, showing the aftermath of the princess's departure. Arts is confronted by the monstrous form of the old god Kexis, which has manifested from the scholar Lewin's body. Kexis taunts Arts, gloating that the monsters born from the Manga people have already spread across the world like seeds, and that Arts himself is succumbing to the curse. Kexis, who now identifies itself as Seatheusis, offers Arts a deal. Give it his heart, and in return, it will repel the monsters, protect the kingdom, and even resurrect the princess, allowing them to be together forever as guardians of the realm. With his body's lifespan dwindling, Arts makes a choice. He agrees to the pact, allowing Seatheusis to imbue his heart with its power before tearing it from his chest. He then transforms into a massive, shadowy dragon, a guardian bound to the tower, and unleashes a torrent of dark flames that purges the kingdom of the invading monsters. Seatheusis celebrates its victory, planning to use the dragon to harvest the lifespans of any who approach the tower. However, it discovers that Arts had foreseen its scheme, and prior to their pact had bound himself to the tower with his own oaths, effectively trapping both himself and Seatheusis there for eternity. Seatheusis, enraged but powerless, vows to one day be resurrected and dominate the world as countless ages pass. The vision ends, and the MC finds himself back in the present, holding a new mythical level skill, Shadow of Annihilation, the very ability Arts used to create his shadow guards. He has also obtained the key to the magic Oblique Tower hideout, leveled up, and received a key to a new mysterious map called Skull City Ruins, which he suspects is the lost homeland of the Manga Empire. He returns to the fake Heavy Industries temporary base, where Huang Huifan is trying to figure out her next move. The MC appears suddenly, offering to sell her the key to the hideout she just lost. Her son, Huang Ziking, erupts in anger, accusing the MC of orchestrating their guild's wipeout just to sell them back the key at an exorbitant price. He demands the key back for free plus compensation. The MC, unfazed by the outburst, simply looks at Huang Huifan and doubles his original price to 800 years of lifespan, not a day less. Huang Huifan, recognizing her son's folly, smacks him and has him escorted away to grind levels. She apologizes for his behavior and, after a brief negotiation, agrees to the steep price, paying 1,000 years upfront with the remaining 800 to be paid in 10 days. With the deal concluded, she announces to her guild that they will now be based in the platinum-grade Magic Oblique Tower and imposes a temporary 50% lifespan tax to repay the debt. Meanwhile, Huang Ziking, fuming over his humiliation, reveals his own trump card, an item called the Abyss Vase, which granted him an epic-tier abyssal spell, Abyssal Puppet Curse. He fantasizes about killing the MC and turning him into an all-powerful puppet, unaware of the vase's ominous warning about gazing into the abyss. In the bone graveyard, Ghostshade has been diligently grinding, finally accumulating enough experience to undergo her class advancement. She becomes a Tier 2 ghost of the Yellow Springs, gaining new illusion and tracking abilities that will be crucial in her fight against the source of plague. She sends a quick message to the MC before logging off, presumably to hunt down Dongfang Yu. The MC, recalling from his past life that Ghostshade's previous attempt at revenge ended in tragedy due to a moment of misplaced pity, decides to log out himself to ensure she doesn't make the same mistake twice. In reality, at the Dongfang Manor, the two guards tasked with protecting Dongfang Yu are fantasizing about her when she appears before them, dressed provocatively. She seduces them, claiming her husband can no longer satisfy her, and lures them into a compromising position. It's a trap. The Dongfang Yu they see is an illusion created by Ghostshade, who swiftly dispatches them. She then confronts the source of plague, who has been guarding the real Dongfang Yu. He boasts that his ammonia barrier detected her approach, but he seems conflicted, struggling with the urge to kill her versus letting her grow stronger for a more satisfying fight in the future. As he writhes in indecision, Ghostshade reveals he has been trapped in her Yellow Springs eye illusion since the moment he looked at her. With a final, cold declaration, she ends his life. Dongfang Yu's son, hearing the commotion, rushes out with his mother. He finds the guards dead and is soon confronted by Ghostshade herself. Dongfang Yu recognizes her immediately and, after a moment of shock, begs for her son's life. Ghostshade, remembering the MC's lesson, ignores her pleas and brutally kills her in front of her son. Just as she is about to deal with the son, he reveals his own hidden class, Undead Li, and expresses gratitude for her freeing him from his mother's control, offering to let her have some fun with him. He animates his mother's corpse, but as he lunges, a familiar voice offers some advice to Ghostshade. The MC appears, telling her that showing mercy to enemies is cruelty to oneself. He advises her that she must never show pity to her enemies, a lesson she takes to heart. With her vengeance complete, a bloody curse mark blooms from her body as she weeps for her parents, having absorbed all of Dongfang Yu's lifespan. The MC finds her in the aftermath, lost and directionless now that her life's purpose is fulfilled. He tells her that the game holds infinite secrets, including the potential to resurrect the dead, and offers her a new choice, to fade away into emptiness or to follow him and continue moving forward. She chooses to follow him. He brings her to his real-world sanctuary, a luxurious high-tech apartment, and introduces her to his robotic maids, explaining they were created using a book of divine authority. He promises to help her acquire one for herself, solidifying her place by his side. Meanwhile, Dongfang Yu's husband, Chu Kunshin, arrives at the now-empty manor to find his wife and son have vanished without a trace. He immediately blames Shadow, but the lead investigator, Lin Qingwen, points out the lack of evidence. Chu Kunshin's certainty only raises her suspicions. She reveals that members of the Black Dragon Guild, captured by another guild, confessed under interrogation that Chu Kunshin had hired them to attack Shadow's hideout and had planned to lure him into a fireworks factory to blow him up. With this evidence, she places Chu Kunshin under arrest for abuse of power and plotting a terrorist attack. As he is being led away, two figures watch from the trees, confirming his identity as their target before vanishing in a swirl of purple energy. Chu Kunshin is being transported in an armored vehicle, still protesting his arrest, when the convoy is ambushed. Two mysterious figures, a man and a woman, effortlessly incapacitate the guards, freezing them in place before the woman unleashes a massive meteor fire hammer spell that engulfs the entire escort in flames. They easily abduct the paralyzed Chu Kunshin, with the male attacker boasting about his newfound power, a 5-fold stat boost granted by someone named Mr. Theodore. They complain about the meager lifespan looted from the guards, but look forward to the 1,000-year reward promised for their mission, vowing to soon avenge their fallen comrade, Kaien Shishi, by killing Shadow. Before leaving, the woman senses a survivor and launches a fireball into the wreckage, but a lone, heavily injured guard manages to play dead and escape detection. The Guard, a hidden class demon hunter with a passive skill that lets him evade death once every 100 hours, barely clings to life, having overheard that the attackers were remnants of the Alice Guild sent by a man named Theodore to capture Chu Kunshin. Meanwhile, the MC takes Ghostshade to the Tower of Divine Authority in the Magic City ruins. He explains the tragic backstory of the tower's guardian NPC, Virginie, also known as Mom, whose 2 children were killed in front of her. This trauma caused her to create a quest to find her lost children, a quest that can never be completed. The only way to exploit this is for a young male and female player to challenge her together. She will mistake them for her children, significantly lowering the battle's difficulty and increasing the rewards. Following the MC's instructions, they enter the tower and Ghostshade calls out Mom. The NPC, a regal woman floating on a crescent moon, descends and embraces them as her long-lost children. She grants them Mother's Blessing, a 20% boost to all their attributes, and summons a clone of herself for them to fight as their challenge. The MC, now buffed, unleashes his new mythical skill, Shadow of Annihilation, creating 3 clones of himself. He then follows up with Instant Shadow Slash, and the combined power of his 4 simultaneous attacks instantly obliterates the Emerald Rank boss clone. Ghostshade is left utterly speechless, gaping in astonishment at the incredible display of power that resulted in a one-hit kill.